Randy here from the Funnel Cake blog. Happy New Year, everybody. Today is December 30th and I'm at Knott's Berry Farm, and as you can tell, it is really wet outside. The park closed, I believe, at 1, and I saw it close, so I came down to get chicken, figuring there'd be nobody here. It'd be easy to get in and out, so I have an entire bag of soaking wet chicken and a bunch of bakery goods, and the bag is completely soaked as well. I stepped in a huge puddle in front of TGI Fridays, and now my shoes and socks are completely soaking wet. But hey, we need the rain. I'm not complaining, and it gives everybody inside the park that's been working really hard a break today too. So the weather's supposed to be nice tomorrow for New Year's Eve. We'll be back for New Year's Eve. Stay till about 11, get home before all the crazies are on the road, so we'll do that tomorrow. But just want to say thank you for watching the Funnel Cake blog all year. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the support and the comments and the likes and the subscribers. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Just wanted to give you a little personal story about New Year's Eve and why New Year's Eve has not been the same for me since 2010, but also why Knott's Berry Farm is so special to me. I've been coming to Knott since I was a kid. Grew up here in Southern California, Simi Valley. We used to come down every summer with our church group for summer camp. Used to come every year for Knott's Berry Farm. My dad or my friend's parents would drop us off at McDonald's on Beach Boulevard, and we'd walk the rest of the way down. But Knott's Berry Farm has always been special, but it was several years ago. My mom, who is no longer with us, did not really like crowds. She'd battled cancer 3 times prior. The first time, I think, when I was in elementary school. Second was junior high. Third was when I was in college. And her 4th and final battle with cancer was in 2009. But my mom, who did not like to go places, had anxiety in large crowds. I managed to talk her into coming to Knott's Berry Farm. I believe it was 2007. Picked a very slow day in February to come. There was maybe 1,000 people in the park, and she fell in love with it. I'd never seen my mom be so happy. I remember the first time I took her on the log ride, she did not want to go on at all, and I have the picture of her coming down the log ride. I've never seen a smile on her face like that. So we ended up coming for Mother's Day brunch. We came for Thanksgiving. We came throughout the summer, 4th of July. I remember sitting and watching the fireworks in the marketplace. She didn't want to be around all the people inside, so we watched the fireworks from in front of what is now Starbucks, but we watched them from out there. So it ended up being a special place for my mom and I to come, in addition to friends and all my history coming here. But I talked her into coming for New Year's Eve 2008. 2009. So it was December 31st, 2008, New Year's Eve 2009. She was a little apprehensive, thinking the park was going to be really crowded, but back then they did a specially ticketed event. It was a Christian music night called Praise. Was not a huge fan of Christian music at the time. I couldn't even tell you I listened to any Christian music at the time, but I figured the park would be quiet, calm, and reasonable for my mom, for somebody that did not want to be around a lot of crowds. So it was a specially ticketed event. We came in, it was freezing cold that night. We were all bundled up, and as I'm telling the story, I'm going to be editing in photos and videos from that night. I didn't take as much video as I normally would now, but we do have a lot of pictures. But it was freezing cold that night. I remember at midnight there was going to be a fireworks show, and it was so cold and so foggy that the fireworks actually got trapped underneath the fog, and you could not even see where you were walking in the park. It was, I'd never seen anything like it. It was definitely an experience. But we got her to come. We did a few rides. We went on the balloons in Camp Snoopy. I got her on the camp bus. They even let us go on Timberline Twister. Is it still Timberline Twister? In Camp Snoopy. They never let me on because I'm too tall. I exceed the height limit, but this night they let us both on for some reason. My mom was definitely underneath the height limit, but I was not. So I sat with my knees and my knees and my throat right here. But we were able to do that. So it was just a fun night. We saw a few live performances. We ate at Johnny Rockets for dinner. It was just a really fun night. In the stroke of midnight, we did watch those fireworks. I remember about 5 minutes before midnight, my mom disappeared, and I could not find her. It was, you know, I mean, it wasn't a packed crowd, but there were definitely a lot of people. And the fog and everything else. I'm like, where did she go? And she comes back with 2 sets of glasses that said 2009 on them. The actual glass part said 2009. And she was so excited to be celebrating Knott's Berry Farm with me. I was celebrating New Year's at Knott's Berry Farm with me, and she bought these glasses. And I remember at midnight, the fireworks went off. You couldn't really see them, and the band Kutless was playing on the main stage. So we celebrated New Year's Eve and went back to the hotel. We were staying at the Knott's Berry Farm Hotel, went back, and we had planned to come back for New Year's Eve 2009, 2010. So fast forward a little bit, it was Knott's Berry Farm opening weekend. 2009, and somehow again I got my mom to come out for Knott's Scary Farm of all things. I remember we ate at the pre-scare buffet. She just fell in love with the monster. She was not scared. She was talking to all of them, taking pictures with all of them, and I have those photos too that I think I'll edit back in. And all through this time, you know, when you see somebody all the time, you don't necessarily notice if they start changing. Looking back at the photos now, and especially if I put some of these pictures in now, it's very apparent that she was not feeling good. So we went to haunt. That night, unlike New Year's Eve, was one of the hottest days I had ever remembered. It was so hot, the sweat was pouring off of us waiting to go into the park. And we were sweaty and hot, and my mom just didn't look good, but I didn't really think much of it because it was so hot. So we ended up going on the log ride. It was decorated that year, and she got out of the log ride and she said her back hurt her. And for several days and weeks afterwards, she kept saying she hurt her back on the log ride. And I said, I didn't see you do anything weird. I don't know what you did on the log ride. Fast forward 2 weeks, and we were living in Phoenix at the time in Ahwatukee. My mom wanted to go to Doomtown at Rawhide. And Rawhide, let's say, is kind of a mini Knott's Berry Farm without all the rides. I believe they do have a train and they had a tractor ride, but it's kind of, think of like Ghost Town without everything else. So they were doing a Halloween event, and she had so much fun at Knott's that she wanted to do that. So they were doing, I believe it was a hay ride or a horse ride or something around the property, and she couldn't get on and off the back of the tractor, which I thought was kind of strange, but she still insisted that she hurt her back at Knott's Berry Farm. Fast forward another week, and she calls me. She's fallen and cannot get up. It turns out that we rushed her to the hospital because we couldn't get her up off the floor, that it was stage 4 metastasized cancer that had spread to her spine and her brain. They didn't know that at the exact moment when we went to the hospital, but when we ended up doing some tests a week or two later, that's what we found out what it was. So, you know, I don't really talk about this that much. Everyone that knows me knows the story and knows what happens, and anyone that I know at Knott's knows the story about New Year's Eve, but it got progressively worse. And if there was any one good thing about this whole situation, is that maybe she'd been sick for a while. To this day, I kind of think maybe she knew but didn't say anything. But it so rapidly that by Christmas week, from Christmas to New Year's Day, we had to transport her from the Mayo Clinic Hospital in Scottsdale to hospice. And it was a rapid decline. And like I said, not that that's a good thing, but it happened so quickly that I don't feel that she suffered that long. So New Year's Eve 2009, we'd planned to be at Knott's Berry Farm, and we were actually in hospice on the campus of the Mayo Clinic in Scottsdale. I spent New Year's Eve in the hospice room with her. Very, very non-responsive at all, but we watched Dick Clark's, we watched the ball drop. Was it Dick Clark then? I think it was still Dick Clark then, it wasn't Ryan Seacrest. My alarm was set for 7 o'clock to wake up in the morning. I woke up at 7, she was still breathing barely, but she was sleeping. I fell back asleep, woke up around 7:30, and she had passed. So New Year's Eve 2009, New Year's Day 2010, she had passed in her sleep at the Mayo Clinic, the hospice in Scottsdale. So every New Year's Eve now since, I had a hard time bringing myself to come back to Knott's on New Year's Eve, but I knew that she'd probably wanted me to. So every New Year's Eve since then, I've spent here at Knott's Berry Farm, and I always leave before midnight. I feel like I want to be home before midnight. Why, I don't know, but I always leave around 11 o'clock. It takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to get home, and I usually get home about 5 minutes to 12. That's just a little story about me and my mom. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't mean it for it to be depressing at all. I think, like I said, that was one of the best nights I think I'd ever spent with my mom. I'd never seen her smile and have as much fun. So since then, I have kind of grown to liking the Christian music. Kutless, every time they perform somewhere, I go see them if they're here in Southern California. I think I saw them twice in Phoenix and 2 or 3 times here in Southern California. I saw them at the, I believe it's a Lighthouse Festival in San Pedro. Saw them perform there a couple years ago. Oh, I forgot that part of the story. We were driving to the Mayo Clinic for the first day of her appointments after she was diagnosed with the cancer to meet with her doctor. I said, you know what, we need a little bit of encouragement. Let's click over to K-Love. This was in Phoenix. It's on here in LA also. And that song was on the radio. And I said to my mom, I said, wasn't this what was on at Knott's when we were there for New Year's Eve? And I had to go back and look at the information online, and it was Kutless.
All right, give it up. A big SoCal welcome for Kutless.
But every time that song comes on the radio, it makes me think of her because of Knott's Berry Farm and that evening. And if you listen to the words of What Faith Can Do, I can't play it because of copyright. I can maybe put up some of the lyrics. It's just a very inspiring song, and we listened to it, and to this day, that's what got us through that experience back then before my mom passed away. So that is a very important song to me. Two years ago, I believe 2019, there was a fundraiser in Simi Valley for Simi Adventist Hospital, the cancer center, where you could decorate a tree. You donate the tree and all the decorations. And I decorated the whole tree themed to What Faith Can Do with words and lyrics from the song, decorations that I actually purchased here at Knott's. Some of the craft vendors actually helped me create the decor that was on the tree. So this is my tree dedicated to my mom. It's all decorated based on a Kutless song, and the song is on the tree in the photo frames. The Mom I Love You ornament purchased at the Emporium. The pink faiths that are on the tree were hand cut by one of the craft vendors at Knott's, and this ornament purchased at Knott's was actually repainted by another vendor at Knott's Berry Farm this holiday season. This video maybe either go up tonight on the 30th or New Year's Eve. And then our New Year's Eve video will probably go up on the 1st. So I just wanted to share that story, give you a little bit of my background. I know we do a lot at the theme parks and the events, but you haven't really gotten to know me that much. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and got to meet my mom, which I wish you could do in person. In spirit, she is in this video. I know she is. She'd be very proud of me doing this channel, because she knows that it actually brings me joy. So we hope you enjoyed that. Happy New Year. Thank you again for watching and following along on our socials and here on YouTube. We appreciate it. We have a lot more coming up in 2022. Looking forward to a fresh start again next year. Let's hope it's a better one. It looks like what we're in currently hopefully will pass quickly, and 2022 will be a fresh start, brand new year again. So again, thanks for watching. I got to get home and get this chicken out because it's getting cold, and the chicken noodle soup is getting cold too. And I'm gonna eat all these cookies before I even get home, probably on the freeway. Thanks a lot.